Dr. Alicia Novak was not the type to blend into the background. As a prominent xenobiologist and geneticist, she had spent most of her life studying alien species, how they evolved, how they adapted, and what made them unique in the vast, ever-expanding galaxy. Yet, her true passion lay in a subject that few in her field took seriously: humans. Alicia's research focused on an extraordinary ability within human physiology, an ability so strange that most considered it a myth: humanity's unique capacity to rapidly adapt to energy-based weapons. This human adaptability, as Alicia had coined it, was the stuff of legends among galactic species. No other known species in the galaxy had ever displayed such a miraculous trait, where their bodies could almost instantly adjust to the harmful effects of energy weapons. Whether it was blaster fire, plasma beams, or high-intensity lasers, humans seemed to survive and even thrive in environments that would obliterate other species. Yet, to the members of the Coalition of Galactic Nations, CGN, this ability was either a curious fluke or an outright lie. The Peace Summit held at the Zorith Station, a massive facility orbiting a dying star, was a rare event in itself. Representatives from several alien factions had gathered in a tenuous alliance, hoping to secure a long-awaited peace treaty after centuries of conflict. The station, a neutral ground in the heart of the galaxy, was a spectacle of advanced technology and diplomatic intricacies. It buzzed with activity as alien ambassadors and military officials navigated delicate negotiations, always with the shadow of distrust looming over them. Alicia had been invited to the summit, though her presence was far from welcomed. She wasn't a diplomat or a military strategist. She was a scientist, a researcher whose field of study didn't exactly excite the top leaders of the CGN. Her task? To present her findings on human adaptability, despite the fact that the majority of the summit's attendees considered it little more than a curiosity, a side note, in the grander scheme of interspecies diplomacy. Alicia was beginning to feel the weight of her situation. Her research had already been dismissed by the higher-ups at the CGN, who saw her work as nothing more than an intriguing anomaly. Despite the disinterest of most of the summit attendees, Alicia knew there was more to this than met the eye. Deep down, she believed that humanity's strange gift wasn't just a biological quirk. It could be the key to securing humanity's place in a galaxy filled with countless dangers. But the real question she had been asking herself was whether this strange human trait could play a pivotal role in the ongoing peace negotiations. Could humanity's adaptability make them an invaluable asset, or would it only lead to more conflict? Late one night, while Alicia was reviewing her research in her quarters aboard the station, she received an encrypted message on her private terminal. The message was brief, its content cryptic, but it sent a chill down her spine. It was from an anonymous source, someone within the summit itself. The message warned her of an imminent deal between the CGN and the Xrax, a powerful and aggressive alien faction known for their reliance on devastating energy weapons. The CGN, according to the message, was planning to sell humanity's secret ability to the Xrax in exchange for their alliance and military support. Alicia's heart raced as the implications of this hit her. If the CGN made this deal, humanity's adaptability might be weaponized, sold like a commodity to the highest bidder. It was an unimaginable betrayal of everything she stood for. Alicia's mind raced. Should she take this message seriously? Was it a trap meant to discredit her research and stir up trouble at the summit? Or was it a desperate plea from someone who had seen the dangerous path humanity might be led down? The more she thought about it, the more she realized that if this deal went through, it could mean the end of any real power humanity had within the galaxy. The Xrax would have access to humanity's greatest advantage, and once they had it, there would be no turning back. Her instincts urged her to act, to investigate this claim and expose the truth before it was too late. But doing so would risk ruining the fragile peace that had taken years to broker. If she revealed the truth now, it could cause an uproar at the summit, and there was a chance that the other factions might see humanity as a threat. The fragile peace that held the galaxy together could crumble in an instant. And if her suspicions were true, the CGN was involved in a conspiracy that could unravel the entire future of humanity. But as Alicia pondered the risks, another unsettling thought crossed her mind. Her research, which had always been regarded with skepticism, was more than just a scientific curiosity. She was more involved than she initially realized. Alicia uncovered a terrifying truth hidden within the records of the CGN. Her own genetic line had been studied for years. Humanity's ability to adapt wasn't just a random anomaly. It was something that had been carefully monitored and even manipulated by the CGN. Alicia herself, unknowingly, carried a rare genetic trait that could potentially enhance this human adaptability to a dangerous degree. This discovery made her both a key to humanity's survival and an unwitting target. The more she uncovered, the more she realized the deep layers of conspiracy surrounding her. Her research, her genetics, even her very presence at the summit all were part of a much larger game. Humanity's adaptability wasn't just a gift, it was a commodity. And Alicia was at the center of it all. Now, with everything at stake, Alicia had to decide, should she expose the truth and risk everything, or should she dig deeper into this conspiracy and fight for humanity's place in the galaxy before it was too late? Time was running out, and the future of peace itself hung in the balance. As Alicia delved deeper into the encrypted message, a growing sense of dread tightened around her chest. The more she investigated, the more she realized that what she had stumbled upon was far more dangerous than she initially imagined. The CGN wasn't merely negotiating with the X-Rex for profit, as she had assumed. No, this was a matter of survival, a desperate bargaining chip in a galactic game she hadn't fully understood until now. The human ability to adapt to energy weapons was not just an evolutionary anomaly. It was a weapon, a rare trait that could alter the balance of power across the galaxy. The CGN had long been in a tenuous position. While they had maintained a degree of peace with the X-Rex and other alien factions, their position was precarious. They were caught between the larger, more powerful species of the galaxy and the constant threat of annihilation. If they sold humanity's secret to the X-Rex, the entire nature of galactic warfare would change. Humanity's ability to adapt would become the ultimate weapon, one that could swing the tide of battle in favor of whichever side controlled it. The X-Rex, with their brutal reliance on energy weapons, would gain a considerable advantage, one that could potentially tip the galaxy into an all-out war. Alicia felt the weight of this realization. She wasn't just a scientist anymore. Her research had become a volatile piece of political currency. If she exposed the truth, there was a risk it would trigger an arms race, and humanity could be reduced to a pawn in a far larger conflict. But if she kept the secret, there was no telling how the CGN would use humanity's adaptability. Would they weaponize it? Would they risk the extinction of other species to ensure humanity's survival? The intellectual conflict twisted inside her, gnawing at her mind. Should she expose the truth and risk the destruction of the fragile peace? Or should she protect humanity's secret, knowing that keeping it could lead to even darker consequences down the road? But it wasn't just the galaxy's future that Alicia was worried about. She began to question her own moral compass. The more she dug into the conspiracy, the more she realized the complexity of the situation. Could humanity's unique ability be a blessing or a curse? Was it right to keep something so powerful hidden? Or was it better to allow the other species to know, forcing them to reckon with the truth? Every answer seemed to raise more questions, and each potential choice came with a heavy price. As she continued her investigation, a new figure emerged on the scene, Varric, a seasoned diplomat from the X-Rex. Alicia had noticed him at the summit before, always in the background, quietly observing the proceedings. But now, Varric had taken an interest in her work, asking probing questions about the human adaptability and offering his own insights into the subject. At first, Alicia had been wary. The X-Rex were notorious for their ruthless tactics and their violent history with many species. But Varric seemed different from the others of his kind. His calm demeanor and subtle intelligence made him an unusual figure among the typically blunt and aggressive X-Rex. He wasn't the type to flaunt his power or make open threats. Instead, he spoke with a quiet confidence, his words measured and diplomatic. Varric began to offer Alicia a series of private meetings, claiming that he believed humanity's adaptability could be the key to ending the endless cycles of conflict across the galaxy. He even proposed a potential alliance between humanity and the X-Rex, offering advanced energy shields and other defensive technologies in exchange for cooperation on human adaptability research. To Varric, humanity's ability to adapt could serve as a means of protecting weaker species from the brutal aggression of other factions. But Alicia wasn't sure whether to trust him. Was Varric genuinely interested in peace, or was he trying to manipulate her research for the X-Rac's benefit? Could humanity's adaptability be used to broker peace, or would it be weaponized, turning the X-Rax into an unstoppable force? The more she heard Varric's arguments, the more she felt the complexities of the situation. The idea of an alliance sounded appealing. Humanity could potentially gain the technological edge to defend itself against greater threats, but at what cost? Was the price of peace worth the potential for a future filled with uncertainty and danger? As the tension between the galactic factions grew, Alicia also began to feel the strain of her professional relationships. She had always believed in the integrity of her colleagues at the CGN, but now she couldn't shake the feeling that something darker was at play. The more she learned about the CGN's negotiations, the more she began to suspect that some of her colleagues had already decided to betray humanity in exchange for power and resources. Long-standing friendships started to fray, and Alicia found herself questioning the loyalty of those she had once trusted. The political intrigue within the CGN reached a boiling point. Alicia was approached by a high-ranking official who hinted at a hidden agenda within the coalition. Humanity's adaptability, he said, was to be used as a secret weapon, a way to guarantee humanity's dominance in the galaxy. The official made it clear that any attempt to expose this plan would result in severe consequences, not just for Alicia, but for the entire human race. Her suspicions were confirmed when she began to investigate the source of the encrypted message. She stumbled upon an underground faction of aliens who had been working secretly with a rogue human scientist, Dr. Isaac Henson, who might have been responsible for humanity's unique trait. The Anomalous, as they called themselves, were a group of individuals from various species who had come together to stop the CGN from using humanity as a pawn in a galactic war. They had their own agenda, one that Alicia found difficult to comprehend. Their goal was to ensure that humanity's secret ability remained hidden from the larger galactic community. The more Alicia learned about the Anomalous, the more she questioned everything she had known about humanity's history. What if humanity's adaptability was not a natural evolution, but the result of a carefully orchestrated experiment? What if the very foundation of her research was built on lies? The deeper she dug, the more tangled the web became. And the more Alicia questioned her own place in the larger scheme of things, her journey had gone from academic curiosity to a fight for the soul of humanity itself. Now, she had to decide whether to expose the truth, knowing the galaxy might never be the same, or to protect humanity's secret, even if that meant allowing dark forces to manipulate it for their own gain. Her choices were narrowing, and the consequences would be far greater than she could have ever imagined. Alicia's world began to unravel like a poorly woven tapestry, its threads slowly coming loose one by one. Every truth she thought she knew, every assumption she had about humanity, seemed to dissolve in the face of new revelations. The adaptability she had dedicated her life to studying, the very trait that had made her believe in humanity's unique place in the galaxy, was not a natural gift. It was engineered. The discovery came one night when Alicia was going through the last of the encrypted files she had found. The deeper she dug, the more she uncovered. It wasn't just the CGN that had manipulated humanity's genetic code. The truth was far darker. The adaptability humans possessed to energy weapons, this so-called miracle of human biology, had been deliberately created by a secret faction of the CGN during the early days of humanity's space exploration. They had tampered with human genetics, enhancing their resistance to energy weapons as part of a larger, covert program meant to give humanity a tactical advantage over other species. Alicia sat back, the weight of the discovery pressing down on her. The idea that humanity's most unique trait was a lie, a product of manipulation, was a blow that cut deeper than anything she had ever encountered. All her work, all her research, her belief in the purity of human biology, had been built on falsehoods. Humanity's strength had never been a natural gift. It had been engineered in a laboratory, crafted for war and conquest. She felt sick, betrayed by her own species, by the very people who had promised her that humanity was destined for greatness. She had always believed that humans were inherently special, that their ability to adapt was a result of their unique evolution. But now, she saw the truth. Humanity's adaptability was just a weapon designed for domination. There was no purity in it. There was no nobility. The trait that had once filled her with pride was nothing more than a tool created for a dark and selfish purpose. This revelation shook her to the core. It left her questioning everything she had once held dear. Who was she, really, if her very existence had been shaped by this secret program? Her genetic makeup, her very essence, had been tampered with long before she had any say in the matter. Alicia felt as though her identity was slipping away from her, her sense of self crumbling under the weight of what she had learned. She struggled with the knowledge that she herself was a product of the very system she had been fighting against. The CGN had created a race of humans designed for dominance, and she was one of their creations. How could she fight for humanity's place in the galaxy when the truth was this ugly? Could she really defend a species that had been engineered for war? In her isolation, Alicia began to question her loyalties. Should she expose the truth, knowing it could destroy humanity's reputation in the galaxy and spark a galactic war? Or should she protect the manipulated legacy of humanity, safeguarding the secret and allowing it to remain hidden for the greater good of the peace that had been achieved so far? As she wrestled with these painful choices, another layer of betrayal surfaced. Alicia's growing distrust of Verac, the X-Rax diplomat. She had begun to see his interest in humanity's adaptability as a strategic move. But what she discovered now was far more complex and far more dangerous. In an unexpected turn, Verac sought her out late one evening, the shadows of the station casting his large angular silhouette against the soft lights. He was not the cold, calculating diplomat she had first perceived. There was a pain in his eyes now, a weight that seemed to echo her own. "I need to tell you something, Alicia," Verac said, his voice low, strained with emotion. "Something you don't know." Alicia's heart skipped a beat. Her instincts told her to distrust him, but curiosity drove her forward. "What is it?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Verac took a deep breath before continuing. "I was part of a faction within the X-Rax who wanted to eliminate humanity's rise. We were preparing to introduce a virus that would suppress the adaptability gene. It would have been a simple solution to your kind's power, ensuring that humanity would never pose a threat to the X-Rax or any of the other galactic species. I had no problem with it at the time." Alicia froze. The betrayal hit her like a punch to the gut. This was the moment she had feared, the realization that all the factions she had trusted, including the X-Rax, had their own agendas for humanity's adaptability. Verac had been part of the plot to destroy what she had fought to protect. Her heart ached with the pain of it all. "But why?" she asked, her voice trembling with a mix of anger and disbelief. "Why are you telling me this now?" Verac's expression softened. "Because I've changed my mind, Alicia. After I learned the truth about humanity's adaptability, after I discovered how it was engineered, I couldn't go through with it. I realized that you're not the threat I thought you were. I thought you were a weapon, but now I see that you're just a people, manipulated by forces far beyond your control. I couldn't be a part of it anymore." His words hit her like a wave, crashing over her and drowning her in confusion. Was he telling the truth? Had Verac truly changed his mind, or was this just another manipulation, another ploy to gain her trust? How could she know what to believe after everything she had learned? Her mind screamed for clarity, but all she felt was a storm of emotions. The decision before her had grown even more complicated. Verac had once been her enemy, a symbol of everything she had fought against. But now, he was offering something different, a chance at a different future, one where humanity's adaptability could be used for something other than destruction. She wanted to trust him, but the scars of betrayal ran too deep. Alicia found herself at a crossroads. Her entire worldview had shattered, and she was left standing in the rubble of her former beliefs. She had learned that humanity's adaptability was not a gift, it was a weapon. She had learned that the CGN and the X-Rax, as well as other factions, had been manipulating her species for their own gain. And now, the one person she had once viewed as an enemy, Verac, was offering her a chance at redemption. But would accepting his offer mean embracing the same kind of manipulation that had led to this chaos in the first place? Or was there a way to use this knowledge to forge a new path that didn't involve war or domination? Alicia had no answers. She only had the painful, crushing weight of truth and the painful choice of whether to use it or bury it forever. The galaxy trembled under the weight of Alicia Novak's revelation. Humanity's celebrated adaptability to energy weapons, once thought a testament to human resilience, was unveiled as a product of covert genetic engineering. This disclosure sent shockwaves through the coalition of galactic nations, CG and fracturing alliances, and igniting fervent debates on genetic manipulation, ethics, and the very essence of humanity. Alien factions reacted with a spectrum of emotions. Some viewed humanity as a destabilizing force, a species whose engineered traits could tip the galactic balance. Others saw potential allies, beings capable of rapid evolution and adaptation, offering opportunities for unprecedented collaboration. The galaxy stood at a precipice, uncertain whether to embrace or shun the humans who had unknowingly been crafted as instruments of war. In the solitude of her research, Alicia unearthed a hidden message within her ancestral genetic code, a warning that humanity's adaptability might be a transient condition. Continued mutations could lead to unforeseen consequences, potentially transforming humanity into the very threat they had once opposed. This discovery added a layer of urgency to her mission, as she grappled with the possibility that the very trait that defined humanity could also lead to its undoing. Alicia's journey culminated in a bittersweet realization. Humanity's place in the universe was no longer that of a destined savior, but as a species whose origins were shrouded in manipulation and whose future was uncertain. She pondered profound questions. Was humanity truly the superior species, or merely another anomaly in a vast, indifferent ecosystem? What did it mean to be human in a galaxy where artificial evolution was the norm and natural progression a rarity? The galaxy, now aware of humanity's engineered beginnings, faced a new era of introspection. Species that had once viewed humans with suspicion now offered tentative partnerships, acknowledging both the potential and peril inherent in humanity's rapid evolution. Alicia's revelations had not only altered the political landscape, but it also forced every species to confront uncomfortable truths about identity, ethics, and the unpredictable nature of scientific advancement. As Alicia gazed out upon the stars, she understood that humanity's journey was far from over. The path forward was uncharted, filled with both promise and peril. In a universe where artificial evolution was the driving force, humanity would have to redefine its place, not as conquerors or saviors, but as fellow travelers seeking meaning in the vast expanse of existence.